Nope, we should be live and broadcasting.
You get an intro?
Nah, I mean, no.
Nah.
It is.
Right.
We are live.
Cool.
So the anniversary's coming up on 9/11. It's always an interesting time.
Anybody expecting anything big?
Everyone's muted.
Yeah. No, not me.
Well, this
Not.
is... No, it's not far away. No, we got a feedback here, mate.
Do they do all that stuff where you are too, John? Do they do a 9/11 tribute in England?
They do it here because there's a few guys a few people that died. So yeah, but it's getting less and less each year.
Yeah, the last big one was the 10-year, right?
15, that was last year.
Mm.
Oh, 15, yeah, 15 this year. Sorry.
Anyone getting big feedback here?
Yeah, it's very very quiet for me, but I am getting it.
I can hear the feedback coming through your microphone. I'm not getting any.
Yeah, I don't hear any either.
Hmm. Oh, so John, what we'll talk about. Remember you and me were chatting about the Morgile and his theory of that basketball the other day. Remember that one? How it should be east
Yeah,
to
I don't know
west.
which Rob I'm talking to at the moment. The live one or the 20-second delayed one? I'm going to drop out.
Yeah, if you guys are watching,
Oh, okay. Oh, wait.
if you guys have the YouTube video up, it's probably going to get that feedback. So you'll have to. You can't watch it on YouTube and be in the Hangout at the same time. Or if you watch it, you'll have to mute the YouTube video.
Right. So what's the gist of it, Rob, on that discussion about the Morgul, etc.?
Oh, I'll wait for John to come back.
Right on.
Well, the gist of it was there's more curvature in different parts of the Earth. Was the there should be.
Interesting.
So, John.
Hello. I think that's better. I think I had...
Is the YouTube video? Yeah, it's the YouTube video is probably still up. You'll probably have to mute that or just close the YouTube out and just
Yeah.
participate
Right,
via.
yeah, I've muted that. So yeah, much better.
Yeah.
Yeah, what were you talking about? The thing on the basketball with the Morgile and why you agree with Morgile and
Well,
Skiba?
if you think about it, we use the 8-inch formula because the radius is 3,959 miles, right? But at the top of the say at latitude 50, if you went east to west, then it's not that far around. But it would only be different if it's east to west. You don't agree with that, John?
No, I'm just trying to process it. So we know for sure.
You're not going across the whole radius. You're not doing a complete diameter of the Earth. You're doing the top of the ball would only say it's only 10,000 miles around the top of the ball compared to the 25,000 miles around. So if you use the 8-inch formula, then it's not going to work out.
Are we sure the 8-inch formula is derived from the
Well,
radius?
it's close enough, but you wouldn't be using...
No. But the radius is a key factor in the...
Yeah, that's right, and and that's why you wouldn't be able to use that formula if you were going east-west at, say, latitude 50. You couldn't use that formula because it's only... The radius isn't that big. You'd have to use the radius. You'd have to work out the proper scientific, you know, how down the bottom of that chart it's got costs and sine, and yeah, that's how you work it out perfectly. You would have to work it out. Say if the latitude 50, it might be 15,000 miles around. You'd have to use the radius.
Yeah, I get what you're saying.
For that one, for whatever that would be, yeah.
Yeah,
And
yeah.
it'd be different. It'd be different. But as soon as you start moving, if you were going off course, then it would change. That's the way I see it.
No, I agree. My problem is I see it both ways. I can see it both ways in so far as if you join two dots on the ball, then that is then your equator and you're halving it through the radius of 3959, whatever. But yeah, I see what you're saying as well. If you're going east-west further up the ball, and the radius
only if you're
is
going
smaller.
east-west, and if you've got 2 points.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah,
nice one. I agree.
Yeah, that's what I think. I think Gold was right. I think he was right.
But isn't it? I mean, isn't
Mm.
it pointless? Really, well, not pointless talking about it. But if it's only restricted to exactly east-west along the latitude lines, I don't know what value that's got.
Well, I think it was just interesting. It was just interesting because yeah. I've thought about it, but I've dismissed it. But
I bet you didn't think it would be that easy to tell me about it.
Yeah, when I watched that, I had a good think about it, and yeah.
No, it's just when you say it's related to the radius, then yeah, clearly if you're going east-west higher up the ball, then the radius is going to be smaller, then the inches are possibly going to be larger, I should imagine.
That Rob Skiba, he sort of did the calculations himself. I'm not sure, he didn't really show us how he did the calculations, but he got it'd be a 10-inch by the mile squared if it was up around, you know, it might be in the 50 latitude or something. I'm not sure.
There must be a formula that there is. I just haven't read it and digested it. A formula out there that shows how they got the 8 inches to start with, and you just replace the radius that you're at in that formula and work it through, and it will probably give you 10 whatever inches that Rob was on about. Yeah, interesting.
Yeah, so that's the way I see it. That's the way I see it. As soon as you start moving across the latitudes, then it would change also. But it's very, very, very difficult.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, if it's not exactly east-west, yeah, it gets even more complicated.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, yeah. So I mean,
it's a good job we live on a flat plane, isn't it?
Yeah.
Life would be so much more complicated.
And I was watching that Zach's video last night that you posted too.
Yeah, I watched that today. That laser one.
Yeah,
that was brilliant, wasn't it?
Stephen Hawking's bullshit experiment out of the water. Literally.
Yeah, absolutely. I know what the ballers are going to say already on that one. Why are they adjusting the laser? Why are they keep adjusting the laser so it's pointing in the right direction and refraction, blah, blah, blah.
Looming, blah, blah.
Yeah. But no, it did. Compared to Hawkins' farce, that was far more accurate, far more professional. You could see the workings out they were using. They were using CAD. I mean, compared to that, just holding a board up on a boat, bobbing about on a with a laser that hasn't been leveled. Yeah, absolutely rubbish. And then it came out perfectly at 3 miles, 6 foot, which would only happen if it was literally on the ground. So
that's right. That's exactly right. It was 2 feet off the
ground.
So that blew. Yeah, that was wrong.
Yeah, they're fudging it for the gullible.
Yeah, that's it.
Yeah, tough shit. We've got our own lasers now, and boats, and everything else, and time, effort, and motivation to do all of it.
Yeah.
passion. Yeah.
No, it's a great time, man. It is. It's a really great time to be involved in this stuff right now.
Bloody hell, you're in Heathrow Airport again, aren't you?
Jesus, James.
At the airport, are we?
Oh boy, I'm running it through my laptop again. I'm gonna have to switch back to my phone. Shoot.
It sounds like you're in a subway.
Right, riding the rails. He's a hobo doing a hangout.
Hobo Jimmy.
747's just come overhead. But no, like the Space Cadet guys, when they found out, you know, they were like, I'm so angry. These are just classic feelings of a flat earther. I want money. that girl said, I want some money. I feel like such an idiot. Yeah.
I can appreciate that. I felt like an idiot too.
I think I felt like an idiot for about 10 seconds, and then I felt proud that I found it out.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think I had much anger. Anyone else? Where did everyone go? Where did
James went to go get his headphones and switched to his phone.
Oh, that's right.
Walt
Walt
is
just
still
can't
working.
Get back on.
He's went to go get a charger. His phone is almost dead. He thinks he's got it.
That's probably doing this without.
There's Hobo
being
Jimmy.
powered up. That's wishful thinking. I remember driving around Australia, Skyping my wife in England via my crappy non-smartphone and an EEE PC, and absolutely staggered that it worked.
Gentlemen, I've cleared Heathrow Airport and I'm safely on the ground.
You're clear to taxi to runway.
Yes. I saw your thread, John. Interesting. With that DJ Ionic kid or whatever. I mean,
Yeah.
man, for a baller, he actually is hanging in there. I mean, he's not attacking. You got the patience.
He's an interesting one, but he went and blew it by trying to deceive.
Oh, I missed that bit.
It was the he wanted to see. It was the ships over the horizon thing, and he wanted to see a boat that was out of vision and then brought back 100%. Were his claims. I mean, I don't think you can bring anything that far away back 100% at all. You know, through refraction and air crap and all that sort of thing. But yeah, this was literally. The camera was so I showed him a P900 zoomed fully out. It was about 2 inches off the sand, which was about 2 foot maximum above the shoreline. And I said to him, "Can you see the white yacht?" You know, it was just looking over the bay, and I said, "Can you see the white yacht that's moored off the coast and the multi-story white buildings behind it?" Knowing full well that you couldn't, because it was zoomed fully out. It was zoomed fully in, you know, so it was like seeing it through a human eye. So you couldn't see anything. If you looked at the picture, all you could see was, you know, the horizon of the bay that they were looking out over. And so then I said, of course you can't. So then I zoomed in and showed him the yacht. And you could see the mooring line from the yacht going down into the water, so you could easily see the water line where it met the yacht. But, you know, nothing was obscured, and then behind it you could see the multi-story white buildings and the rocks in front of them and everything. I mean, it was actually pretty good. It was the first thing I pulled up and put it up as an example. And he came back saying, you know, well, that boat's bollocks, because it could be it's not on the shore, which was 7 miles away, which is what we've done our maths for, fine. It was off the shore, so he was trying to claim that it was 3 miles away or whatever, which I thought, it clearly wasn't because it was on the other side of the shore, but it was probably about 5, 6 miles away. But so I went with the 3 miles and said, okay, well, there's two things there that for a start, you couldn't see that yacht at all in the first shot when we were zoomed out, and it was eye level. You couldn't see that yacht at all, so therefore, according to you, it was over the horizon and gone far away. And then the next shot, you could see the bottom of the boat touching the water. So you brought that boat 100% back into view by using optics. So he dismissed all of that, and then he came back and he zoomed in about a third, and he said, fully zoomed out, you can quite clearly see the yacht is there, blah blah blah. And that just pissed me off. And at that point, I was just like, "You're bullshitting me now."
Yeah, that's dirty play.
Yeah, so I posted a picture of it fully zoomed out, saying number one shot fully zoomed out, number two shot you lying that it's fully zoomed out. Now piss off, basically. I'd had enough of him at that point. I've been knocking around with him for about 3 months now.
Holy.
Yeah. And the other one, Aristophanes, who's still got that stupid name, even though he knows that it doesn't prove anything.
There are some Hall of Famers out there, too.
Hall of Famers?
Yeah, trolls.
Oh,
That's the worst. That Aristophanes, or whatever you want to call him, that is the worst. That is the worst proof out. That one.
It is. Sticks and
they
shadows.
put it forward. That's a shocker. That one.
It's one of my favorites that they use, though.
It doesn't prove it either way. I mean, the flat earthers can't use it either because it's it's invalid. It could be either. It's not conclusive of one way or the other. So neither
Didn't
flat
work out the
earthers
sun
or
was
ball earthers.
2 million miles away, or I don't know what sort of distance did they have 2,000 years ago?
3 million.
Did they have
Well,
miles?
like
Did
6
they
million.
have miles, or how did they work out that he was reckoned the sun was 2 million miles away back then?
I know 500 years ago they were saying 1 million miles. I think it was Galileo was saying 1 million miles.
What
Back
I'm
then,
saying is how did they, back in those days, 2,000 years ago, how do we know what a mile was? What you know what I'm saying there?
It was probably cubits, which there's about probably 200 different values for a cubit. But what's his face? Sagan said he measured the distance between him and his mate at 800 miles because he employed a slave or something or a runner to go and measure it out.
But is that what he said?
Yeah.
Did Sagan
400
say?
miles or something, yeah.
Sagan said that he measured it in miles?
And buggered off 800 miles.
And Sagan said that they measured it in miles.
He did. Sagan did, yeah.
Because that's...
A month later, he came back and said, I saw it too.
This is why
later he came back and said, oh shit, it's a leap year, got the wrong day. Oh, see ya, be off again.
Throughout, hey guys, I finally got on here.
Hey,
What's up, Walt?
Throughout the whole history of the heliocentric model, it has changed distances so many times. It started at about 1 million. At one point, it was 3 million. They did 6 million, 7 million, 9 million, and they had it out to 10 million.
It's always gotten bigger, isn't it?
It's gotten bigger. At one point, it was 30 million. They went past all the way out to like 100 million, and then back to 93 million to make the math work. Because every time somebody who really put their head to the math, like you've been doing, John, you and Rob, and all you other guys who do the math, I'm not the math guy. But when someone actually looks at it and the model doesn't work, then they have to start playing with the distances again. And that's the thing I keep explaining to all these airheads that we argue with. It's like, okay, your model isn't any more sure than the one I'm presenting. You think it is because that's what you see on TV and in the movies and in NASA, but That's why
That's
you've
right.
been
What you're saying there, Walt,
indoctrinated.
because over 500 years they've had time to work out their little
Make it work.
distances on this
Yep.
and that. You know what I mean? They've had 500 years now to
Yep,
work
exactly.
it all out. You know, so it wouldn't have been right the first time, but as time's gone on, and they've.
But also, as more and more anomalies have been raised, they've had to extend it further and further, so that the margins get smaller and smaller, the fractions, the angles, the degrees, the seconds, everything gets more and more minute, so you need
Well,
more
it's
and
like
more
relativity. When you put things so far away and so distant and so far removed, it just makes it something you can't even grasp with your human mind. It becomes just meaningless numbers. Mathematics, I heard someone say the other day. I love that. That was awesome. But definitely, I mean, even my brother is falling prey to that, because when I presented him the Jaren effect of every 6 months we should be seeing different stars in the sky at night, because midnight would be facing a different direction, he's like, that one stopped him for a few days, and he was like, okay, let me think about that. His excuse was, well, everything's so far away, it just looks the same. I'm like, really? That's where you're going to go with that? Come on, man. You're reaching now. You're reaching.
So can I just talk a little bit about Eratosthenes and this whole Carl Sagan bit where he's apparently measuring in miles? This is one of my favorites because
go Josh.
He has Eratosthenes, when he did his calculations, he had 5 major assumptions that he had to make these calculations, and I don't remember them all, but some of the major ones, particularly as they pertain to this conversation. One was the length of a stadia, because that's how he was measuring the shadows and measuring the distances, because he was measuring it in what was called a stadia. Now, we can give him credit for this because it just so happens that his assumption on the length of a stadia was correct. So we can say that his distances were correct. But one of his other major assumptions that he had to use in measuring these shadows to find the circumference was that we live on a ball. Before he could do any of his calculations, he had to start with the assumption, well, this is only going to work if we live on a ball, so we'll just use that as a given. A, we live on a ball, and this is how we're going to prove what the circumference is. So no, it does not necessarily prove a flat Earth or a sphere Earth, because you can figure out the circumference and measure the shadows depending on how you do your geometry. But I think what it does prove is it points a very big finger at the fallacy they use in their mathematics. Is that so much of their mathematics starts with that first assumption that A, we live on a ball, and we're just going to go from there. So that's why I like using that as a proof.
Trace back everything to very few, single assumptions, like the distance to the moon or the distance to the sun or something along those lines, or Kepler's distances between the planets, that sort of thing, all based on assumption. But what this one does is that if you assume it's not a ball, then you can use trigonometry and the 45, 90 degree angle rule.
Yes.
And work out that it's approximately 3,000 to 4,000 miles up, and it's 32 miles in diameter, this sort of thing. So then, if we're sort of thrown with that dichotomy, is it a ball or is it round? Then you have to start looking at the sun, and this is the natural progression, is that we then concentrate on whether the sun gets smaller as it sets and gets larger overhead, and that seems to me at the moment to be an absolute burning question that we don't have an answer for at the moment.
I was just going to bring that up, John. Going back to what you had first said, some of the stuff that the ballers are throwing at us nowadays is that big sun that's cut off in the horizon that just kind of looks like it isn't perspective. Have you seen that photo I'm talking about?
I've seen similar photos.
I'm not sure about the one you're talking about, for sure.
But we've all seen video or in a movie where you can almost watch the sunset, and it's just this great, big, huge, glowing orb, and you can watch it set off.
What I mean.
Oh, yeah. The fake sunsets, yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
With the camera pulled so that the zoom works, and yeah. It's camera trickery. to make that sun look that way. That's just like in the shots where the moon is the size of the whole horizon. I mean, you know,
Could be atmospheric lensing as well.
I was going to say,
part
now,
of it. Yeah, you got to catch it at the right time of day. And
my girlfriend
It's
and I
certainly
watched
not a
it.
rule. It's certainly not the
well, as far as the
rule.
sun size, okay, two things happened when I started doing my videos. I went out on the beach. I had a perfect shot out to the horizon, clear view, sunset. I put my camera down. Well, it was actually my tablet here, and I had it on long extended exposure, and it play all day. And when I watched the video, the sun was going away, and it was getting smaller. It wasn't going down. It was going at an angle to the right. It
You
wasn't going
post
straight
that?
down the sky. Yeah, it's on my channel. I'll show it to you here in a second. Well, I won't be
Good
able to from my
stuff.
tablet.
Just
And I also, at that same time, my son and I sat on a bench with binoculars watching the sun disappear. And as it disappeared, we pulled the binoculars up, and there was the sun. And it was doing the same thing that famous red ship boat footage does, where it's like you can see a line of nothingness as the sun faded away into like this weird amorphous blobby thing to the limits of our vision, and then it just went away into it went away. It didn't go down. It never crossed that little barrier of air glow or whatever you want to call it at the horizon line. It never went below that. It faded out into the distance until we could not see it with the binoculars. And we both had binoculars.
I think that's been proved, hasn't it? That the horizon line that we see is actually lower than the actual horizon that is physical.
Yeah, there's some
Due
kind of
to
layer
refraction.
there that you see that's like invisible. It's hard to say. There's even one of the bridge in New Orleans where the cars look like they're floating on a layer of air because of that effect.
Mm.
And it's 25 miles away, which should definitely be below the curve.
Well, I think it's a lot to do with the the heat in the atmosphere, like looking down a Formula One track and all the mirages and all those sort of effects you get. All of this comes into play. This isn't a simple solution, but
I thought it'd be the other way around, John. That's why we have things floating above, like they're floating in midair, because the actual horizon it's invisible, and you get those boats that float in midair. So therefore, the real horizon is actually higher than the one that we see.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
Right.
Yeah. All right.
Yeah,
I thought you said it was the other way around.
I'm trying to
No. The physical horizon, it would be higher than the horizon that we are perceiving.
Yeah. Okay.
When we're seeing it, and a good video for that is Matrix Decode has done some great work on this, where he's then put it through color, being able to turn the hues up and everything on the footage, and you can actually see it. It's a different shade of blue, but you can see the true horizon, and that is exactly where the boat is sat on. It's mental. Because we were driving down the coast the other day, coming over the hill, and you sort of see this blue line across, and we just knew from experience that it wasn't the horizon. But I looked at it, and I was like, what if that is the actual horizon? It was a real head messer.
Yeah, I'm just trying to search for this video, but I watched a good one on angles and the way your eyes work, and it had these two small, tiny little boats out on the horizon, and they dead set looked like they were floating well above the horizon. It was the best no boats over the horizon video I've ever seen. It was only a short little thing about that, but it was amazing.
Yeah, there's some good ones out there, definitely. But what they'll say with the sun thing, Walt, is if he's still around, is they'll say it was diffused light or whatever through the lens. You've got to do it through a welding torch or a welding mask, or a solar filter or something along those lines to get the glare out of there. And I agree, but every bit of evidence helps.
I suppose Walt's still there. Who knows what he's got caught up in.
Well, I'll be back in a minute.
All right.
Yes, I'm here. I had myself muted while I was trying to find a way to share my video so Josh could show it to you guys. But of course, I'm fumbling around with this tablet. But yeah, John, when I put the video up, or I think he left, but yeah, when I put the video up, that was what some people told me in person. No one commented that on my comments, but they were saying that it was all about what the lens was doing and the glare and everything. So I went out a second time and was playing with the filters on the camera, and I even downloaded a different app with a different filter that was really dark, like took all the sunlight. I mean, it did just crazy darkness. And so that's the second video I put up. And in that one, not only did it show the sun going away and down and getting smaller and going to the right, it showed just crazy interaction with the clouds and with chemtrails, and it's pretty insane. I'm trying to find a way. I guess you know, Josh, a way to do it. You can find my page. It's Flat Earth Head. It's probably in your subscription.
Is that the one where you caught that blue orb? Yeah.
Yeah.
That's an awesome.
Yeah, that's the one. That was that same day I caught the orb.
Yeah, I was interested in looking at that. And made me go through some of my photos.
What's the name of that video?
Okay, here we go. Are you there on the page?
Mm-hmm.
It's the one with Flat Earth Sun away, not down, towards the top. It's got like 2 million views.
Yeah, got
that's
it.
I heard the loud intro. Sorry, I was playing with a new editor.
So, Walt, do we have permission to watch this?
Yeah, I'm here.
Okay, I thought you'd gone away for a moment.
I did.
Yeah, this is the first one I did. It was just open camera, just doing its thing. It's real quick, like 2 minutes, maybe 2.5. And then I got the same thing, like you said, that it was the sun glaring out the camera. So I played with filters on the next one, and it showed even more stuff.
Excellent. Oh, let's have a look at that then. No copyright for this because it's yours.
That's right. Well, we have your permission, yes? Oh, see, as soon as I ask, he's gone. He's not even here. Now I don't want to. I don't want to play it
down
now.
the line, we'll fall out and he'll pull the whole thing because we're playing his video.
Yep.
Well, I guess I might even hold off just in case he wants to narrate a bit.
Yeah, no.
That's a good bet. He probably will.
So I've got to try and get this gyro stuff filmed. What I was going to do is just throw up some raw footage to you guys and you film presenters out there and makers and see if you can do anything with it.
Absolutely.
Cool. Like put some background music or something over it. I don't know. What do you think? Speech or writing?
Probably a combination. Yeah, I'm sure you can. We can do both.
Yeah, I'm having trouble with my internet. It looks like we're having some stormy weather, so that may happen again.
Gotcha. Well, I got you pulled up. If you wanted to narrate, real quick while we.
Oh yeah, go ahead. I think I actually narrate on the video, so it should be all right.
Oh,
of course, it was back in the day. I haven't watched this in so long. Go ahead. Wow, and it's loud.
The theory, the sun, is 93 million miles away. The reality, I don't think so. Let's watch this. This is off the coast, as you see. Now, here's the sun. Now let's watch. Looks like it's going away to me. It gets smaller. And
that's awesome.
Bring it back, it gets bigger.
Wow.
And then bigger, and then it goes away and gets smaller. Now, if it was 93 million miles away, wouldn't it be the same size all the way away? Because it's 93 million miles away. Okay, you notice those two clouds getting lit up as the sun passes below them?
Oh,
You
I'm
see
going to
that?
use
You
that.
see them pass
This is incredible.
right there.
Yeah,
Right
best
out.
one I've seen.
I'll let it play. Light up the clouds as it passes below them on its way, on its little journey across this lovely earth. Not around this ball. Or actually, we don't spin and create the illusion, sorry. But yeah, you see it. Let's do it once more, shall we? Go away and come towards us. Away and towards us. Away and towards us.
Like you're trying to hypnotise us.
And it never
Right.
goes. You see the line. It never goes below that horizon line. You see that, right? You see that it just
Yeah.
fades into the distance. It doesn't pass below that distant horizon line. I actually watched
That's
it
amazing,
in
eh?
binoculars with my son, and we saw it fade away, just like that.
You know
Never
what?
went
I
below
don't
the
see that
horizon.
here. I've watched the sun. I have a lot of hills around me, but I don't see that here. I
Beautiful
took a
nonetheless.
video of the sunset
Oh, the
when I
hills?
was
93 million miles
when I
away.
was on holidays at Easter,
Oh,
Sorry,
okay.
ballers.
and it wasn't the same. The sun didn't change in size. It was moving away. It just didn't do what you're showing me there. So
Wow.
whether it's a where you live compared to where I live, I don't know. But it's
I will
just
tell you, it
different.
makes a severe difference in where you're located on this plane just to see what happens in the sky. Because what I saw in the sky in Oregon was utterly different than what I watched happen here. I mean, the sun would go down at 9:30, 10 o'clock almost every night. It would still be light over in the west, and it would start coming up in the east at like sometimes 3:30, 4 o'clock in the morning. That's like 17 plus hours of daylight. So where's the rest of the 24 hours happening for the rest? I mean, it's just insane how different it is that close to the pole.
So
And that's
tell
just
us
a
what
little
it's like where
difference.
you are now.
Here, I watch the sun like travel forever across the sky. It takes a long time. I mean, that's why I got the bloom sky. Was what I saw happen out there on that beach numerous times. There was a few times I went out there and tried to capture it, and something would have happened with the video, and it didn't save. It would be a corrupted file because it's such a long 6 hours or 8 hours of this time lapse. And I guess because it's such a cheap tablet, it would corrupt. So I've had 3 or 4 times that I sat and did this that didn't save. But
So
the
hold
first
on,
2
you're
times, I'm in South Louisiana. I'm like
You're
on
in
the coast of
Louisiana.
Louisiana. Yeah.
And where's Oregon?
Oregon is on the upper west coast.
So that's what, sort of 10 degrees higher than you or something? Or?
Something about like that. I mean, just
Oh.
the distance of the coast. I mean, the distance of the continent here, from one side to the other, I guess, from the bottom corner up. It's about 2,000, 3,000 miles. I looked it up. I can't remember.
Okay. So,
But
because
it's
like
not,
me sorry.
it just
It's
didn't seem
like,
like it should make that much difference. And it did. Amazingly,
Yeah.
what the sky was
Yeah.
doing.
It was like Rob and I were comparing our twilight times, how long when the sun went down in the middle of summer, and how long it took before it got dark, and it's just a world apart. It's an absolute world apart.
Even the moon itself would do different things than it does here. Here, I can tell where it's going to pass as far as the degrees in the rising and in the setting, and it's not that big a difference. Maybe degree difference as it does its little path here. But up there, within a week or two, it would do that amount. And within the whole lunar cycle that I saw 3 times there, it did about 25 or 30 degrees from where it arced through these trees and where it arced through those trees. Because I would sit in the backyard almost every night and take pictures. And like I said, I got a lot of stuff I'm trying to put together for some new videos.
I think Oregon is probably quite close, maybe on a latitude to where I am, sort of 50 plus.
I can check right now. Here, let's see.
That's mad, isn't it?
It probably is right about the same latitude.
Because that's what we get. I mean, the sun goes down about 8 o'clock on summer, and it's still light enough to read a book at 10 o'clock.
Exactly. Yeah.
And then by 11 o'clock, you can still see the glow in the sky.
Right.
This was also backed up by Adam.
Yeah. So it must be very similar.
Yeah, that doesn't happen here. No way.
Nah,
So you're
no.
closer to the South Pole, right? You're down to the South Rim, whatever you want to call it, region.
20 degrees south is Rob, isn't it?
Yep.
Trying to
Yeah.
pull it
So if
up
the sun
here.
went down, say 7 o'clock at summertime. By 8 o'clock it'd be dark. Yeah, you wouldn't be able to see anything at 8 o'clock.
See, I was looking at Macquarie
Organist.
Island today. Have you heard of that, Rob? Off
Which one?
Macquarie Island, south of New Zealand. It's halfway between New Zealand and Antarctica.
Okay. No, I haven't heard that one.
Yeah, well, it's 54 degrees south, so I'm at about 53 degrees north here. And this
Oregon is 43 degrees north. I just looked it up. So yeah, that's
43,
exactly why
right.
we're seeing the same things in those areas.
That's about 10 degrees lower than me. But the interesting thing was this little sort of slip of land at Macquarie Island. They deemed it too harsh, the weather too harsh for penal colony, penal prisons. I mean, it doesn't. Its maximum temperature gets up to something like 7 degrees, mean 7, and only -9, which I thought, I see that here all the time, but +7. Nah, we were like 30 degrees the other day. I mean, it's just crazy.
You would have had the shirt off, wouldn't you, John?
No chance. I wouldn't set foot out of the house.
I'm at 29 degrees here where I'm at in Louisiana.
Okay. So 29 to 43. Yeah, 14 degrees. And you saw a massive difference. Well, you would,
Major
because you're
difference.
heading to the centre.
Exactly. That's what I finally hit me. It was like, oh, well, that's why I'm different than their model.
Well,
Shit
things
show.
that blew it
Which-
away for me
Go.
was the summer solstice this year, and filming the sun coming up at 49 degrees northeast and setting at, well, God, I can't remember what it was now, or 310 degrees, 310 I think, northwest basically. And I was
Wow.
like, nah, way, that in itself, that blows the ball out, and it blows the Pac-Man, falling off the map stuff, nonsense.
The square earth.
Yeah.
Yeah, I've heard that theory too, eh? That's the Pac-Man where as soon as you cross the one boundary, you end up right again on the other boundary.
Somehow, something about the portals and whatnot. It was really too much. I've watched it a few times because I really like the way he explains light and the way light falls and the light body and how that stuff works. It makes sense because that's what I
You're
kind of
talking
see here.
free energy, yeah?
Yeah.
Yes, sir.
And I think
Yeah.
we liked the box design too. I remember us looking into that one for a while with the
Some of his
waves.
stuff works and some of his
Mhm.
stuff I'm still trying to wrap my head around.
Yeah.
But when I started reading the Book of Enoch, and he talked about portals and stars and the celestial bodies moving through them, it was like, there you go, interesting correlation there.
I think that's where a lot of that motivation for that map, or
It
that
may
theory
exactly
comes
be.
from.
You might be right. I mean,
But
you got the idea.
I can't see this straight line, this straight line sun thing. Just
Right.
not
That's
from
not
what I've
I saw
observed.
with my videos. I saw
No,
that on
it's
neither
a
one.
massive. It was
definitely
something
is
like
arguing.
it was something like a 280 degree arc on the solstice, and I'm going to do it again on the December solstice as well.
Yeah, that would be awesome to compare it. I might try to do that here. I'll have to remember to set it up.
Yeah.
I got a nice little tripod for my camera on this S7, which has apparently fallen apart on me today. It's within that hour, the links changed format on the Hangout, and I had to go to my tablet to call you guys. I don't know what's going on, but the camera's awesome on it. I mean, I got the stars to show up. I got the actual close-ups of the
Nice.
stars with the turns, and it's pretty crazy.
And they
I had to set it on a
got,
little tripod.
They've got intervalometers built into those things, haven't they?
Yes.
Yeah, which is really cool. Yeah. You got that on yours, Rob?
I don't think so. I don't know.
That's what we need again. I had another 2 come up today. What about the sun rotating clockwise around? They were saying around the Southern Cross. I was like, what, really? I was like, last time I saw the Southern Cross, it went flying horizontally across the sky. But
No, it rotates.
well, maybe it's a different time of year. I don't know.
No, I've been watching it for now. Well, 9 months now. I've been watching it. And
Oh, that's right.
and what happens? It's 4 minutes. It's exactly like the moon. You know how the moon is 4 minutes slower
Late
per
every day.
yeah, or something. Yeah.
Something like that.
Oh,
yeah,
sorry. It's
57
yeah,
minutes.
not like the moon. It's 4 minutes slower per day. So it yeah.
But
So
you're saying
in-
it goes round in a circle?
yeah, shit, yeah, yep.
Alright. Okay, we
Yep,
need
absolutely,
we need-
absolutely,
we need-
absolutely. It
that's
does. I've been.
what we need proof for.
Yep.
Yep.
Absolutely, it does. I've been watching it. Yep. It
But there
rotates.
are-
There's
there
no
are-
star it rotates around. There's no
No,
fixed
no.
point like the Polaris, but it just rotates around. So summertime. I was walking outside and having a look about 8 o'clock at night, and it was just above the horizon. And 8 o'clock now, it's already horizontal in the sky, and nearly ready to come down by 8 o'clock at night. So it's definitely changes. Yeah, it's like the moon, where the moon takes an hour each day difference. From what I've been reading, it's 4 minutes slower each day.
Well, the important thing is that it rotates like a cartwheel.
Yeah.
Okay, so that's something that you're the first person that's confirmed that to me, Rob.
Yeah.
In 18
definitely.
months.
Yeah, definitely does that.
But I'd love to see if you can get an intervalometer or something that can capture that, and you know, like Walt was saying with his camera phone or whatever, if you can get the stars. Even just taking 10 pictures in one night on a good clear night that can capture the Southern Cross, and then we can just put it through into a collage, like my moonshot thing.
We should do a bit of fundraising on that. Maybe set Rob up with some equipment there to try this, because it sounds like a great plan.
Well, you should be able to do it on a phone, really, if the settings are available.
As long as you can change the ISO and open the aperture up, you should be okay. I mean, that's what I was doing.
I'm sure there's apps then.
Yeah. Well, actually, the camera that came on this one had it, but I'm sure you can get them. I had one for the tablet. That's how I was able to change the filter on it, and that's secondary, which, if you want to see that one, is pretty crazy, too.
Yeah, let's see it. But if you've got a camera that all it needs is a manual setting, and then you can open the ISO, open the shutter speed, all the rest of it. We can help you out with that, Rob, with the values or whatever. How long to open it and all that sort of stuff. We can help you out with all of that. But even if you had just a cheap, crappy, old, 35mm film camera, it would do it.
I wanted to. I went and priced a P900 the other day.
What are they worth?
I can get one on eBay for 600.
They're not the best
in the shop. In the shop, about 900 in the shop. What's that?
They're not the best to get, apparently.
No.
I think the one below it.
That's what the guy was saying. I
Yeah,
really want that one, but because I got so many
600.
islands. I got so many islands around here. I could do some great bloody videos.
What's the deal? What's the difference between the 8 or the 9 and the 6?
Well, they've got. I think the P900 is obviously 83 times zoom, but there was one that was released just before it that is, hundreds of bucks cheaper now. I think it was the P600, and it had a better battery life. It had much better autofocus, and it was something like 80 times zoom as opposed to 83. So And even some people were saying that the people at the Bedford Levels were comparing them all, the recreation of the Bedford Levels with David Murphy and all that lot.
Yeah, yep.
And they were saying the P600 was performing much better, and yeah, it's about £100 cheaper over here.
Something to consider for sure. Thanks.
That's what I thought.
Yeah, I went in there to buy the best. That's what they told me. With this, it could do everything. The P900, it wasn't the best at taking the shots at the stars, but it was like a all-in-one camera that could do. You know, I don't want to buy different cameras for different things. So
No.
it could do everything. You know, you buy a little adapter and it does the time lapse as well.
Yeah, it's an in-betweeny, they call it, I think, or a
yeah, but the 83 times zoom that really that floats my boat. That one.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, that's
it's
pretty
just
awesome.
the difference between the 83 and the 80. But you see, I bought the Canon SX40 or whatever it was when the wife went on holiday, and I've got a Canon SX240 or something. But this thing, the Canon, the cheaper, handheld one, when you half press the shutter button, it actually focuses on what you want it to focus on. Whereas the SX40, which was, super zoom and much more expensive, the autofocus was absolutely pants. And that's what I've heard about the P900 versus the 600 as well, is that it's autofocus. Actually, it's like you're pointing it at your son or something, and it autofocuses on his shirt buttons instead of his face. It's like, oh, for fuck, come on.
Come on.
Hey, Josh, I put a link in our room just before for a video. Can you cue that up and put it onto 14 minutes 30 seconds, I think it was?
How's the copyrights on it?
Oh, it's just no, that'd be wrong. The owner of that video is Puppet Test Pilot.
Oh, cool. I know this video.
This is a
Like
illustration
it's got to be
of
10 miles
visual
away.
acuity
That's got to be 10 miles.
and the angular
to-
resolution
I
of the
reckon.
camera, which is obviously better than our eyes, but the principle is the same. And again, if you increase your altitude, say to the top of a hotel or in an airplane or on a mountain, you create better angles and you can of course see further, but even there you will eventually reach a resolution limit. It is unavoidable, but it is not an edge that Santa Claus is falling over. Look at the water in his shots. Some would call the resolved water line the horizon, but you can clearly see boats fully in the water beyond the resolved water line. You can even barely make out the water being sprayed up from the motor. The surface of the water extends beyond the resolved water line, but it is too far and at too sharp of an angle for the camera or your eye to completely resolve. There's also a lot of diffraction going on due to this angle and the light or atmospheric conditions. Therefore, you get a blurred section that reflects the sky and the boat as an inferior mirage. Again, this happens beyond a point where the eye or camera can no longer clearly resolve the water due to the angle and diffraction. It is where your eye or camera can no longer distinguish points of light. The image blurs and turns into a mirror under certain conditions. Look at the shimmering and changing
that's fantastic,
edges
isn't
of
it?
the
Look at
top
that.
of the
He's
water
gone
line
from
as the
looking
camera
like
resolves it
hovering
at its
like
maximum
Star
distance.
Wars land speeder.
Beyond this
Now he's on
distance,
the
the
water.
water is at too small of an angle to resolve any detail. At this point, it does exactly what a road will do on a hot day. It reflects the light waves like a mirror because the eye or camera can more easily resolve these reflected light rays than they can the actual surface of the road or water. On the ground or on the water, you can see the inferior mirage or reflection of the boats and cars. Some people will claim that the boat itself is a superior mirage and that the actual boat is over the edge of a ball. This is silly for two reasons. Number one, a superior mirage is inverted, and number two,
Exactly.
in this footage, he tracks these boats the entire way in, so you can verify with your own eyes how a boat will barely come into view as a small blur, and then as it gets closer and closer, the angles get larger and your eye can then resolve more and more detail. This is observable, repeatable, apparent, and can be verified by anyone, unlike NASA's theories, of course, that nobody can verify unless they can build a little rocket ship.
Yeah,
Finally, I would like
verified
to discuss
by
the
anyone.
issue
That's exactly
of
right,
boats
isn't it?
or
Verified
buildings
by
being
anyone.
cut
Anyone
off by
can go
the
down the beach
horizon
and see
line
that,
over
see that for
water,
themselves.
which many
Repeatable.
people falsely attribute to the object being over the edge of a ball Earth. Again, I would start by saying that it is easy to debunk this simply by increasing your altitude. If there were a massive drop in curvature obscuring the boat or building, this would be apparent from higher up. Our eyes are not that bad. We can clearly distinguish slopes and hills in the distance, and when you increase your altitude, you can clearly see that the target object lies on the same flat plane as the original observation point. This is simply a function of perspective, angular resolution, and diffraction. When you stand on the seashore, you can see a horizon line, which is basically the limit of your ability to resolve the water, because at a certain distance, the angle becomes too small and diffraction also plays a part. Above this waterline horizon will be everything that your eye can resolve above your eye level. For example, from the beach,
You
I
probably
can
pause
see
it there if
about
you want to,
3 or
Josh.
4 miles
You
of
bet.
the
That's probably
water's
what I wanted
surface.
wanted just to see. Has everyone seen that?
That's an awesome video.
No, that's awesome.
I love
Yeah.
that one.
Oh,
Are we
that's in my favourites. That one. That's a really, really good one.
we're going to put links to this in the show notes, as they say.
For sure.
Who's on the show notes? 'Cause
Welcome.
That's a great video, and yours, Walt, as well.
Mm.
Welcome, Hack, and welcome, Unknown. Thanks for
Yeah,
joining
Hi,
us.
Hack. And unknown. Hi,
Unknown.
unknown.
Identify yourself.
Gents,
Hey, Hack.
Hey.
Hi.
All right, you can just listen. We don't mind either.
That's cool. I put up some pics that I actually took with this new phone there, Josh, in the hangout area. Some stars and some mountains,
Yeah, I got them.
and maybe the moon. Okay, I didn't know if they popped in yet. They were still loading on the phone. This thing is about to aggravate me here at the house. I have no signal. And I'm eating up all the internet with the tablet and the computer going.
You know, we're gonna have to hire you a full-time IT tech when we get
It
going.
looks like it, man. I'm slacking off here. I had Paul on call there at the house in Oregon, but no, he's not beckoning at my call.
Have you got wired internet there, or like?
I have
Broadband.
wired, I have internet, and I have wireless for everything except my. Well, I have one computer that I can plug into a wired one. I just have to pop it off my Xbox, but I haven't done that in a long time.
Always more reliable wired.
The only problem, the computer we have here that has the cam that I can actually do the hangout with it's way loaded down with crap. You just check the kids playing with it. It's worse than mine, and mine just doesn't have a camera, which doesn't really matter. It's just
No, we don't need cameras. Just the mic.
I've been trying to clean my computer as well. It's full of just malware and too many free things that didn't actually turn out to be free.
You gotta stop going to those sites, Walt.
Well, these were given to me by reputable, reliable people. That's what's frustrating. Oh yeah, go there, man. I promise you won't have anything on your computer.
You got to change your mates, Walt.
Apparently so.
Just
Anyway,
going.
Rob.
I was just gonna go back quickly on that video Rob put up. Man, the spray of the water behind you can clearly see it on that line. I just rewatched it. That is unbelievable proof. I mean, both of those. Same with the video Walt played earlier with the sun. Those are two huge things.
The
I've got
problem
one
is,
thing to
James.
say.
The problem is what's calling it proof, James, is most people who believe the globe don't believe the math that we know to be true. You can say to them that that's 10 miles away, and the curvature should be 66 feet or whatever it should be, and they say nah, that's not right. So that's the problem that we have. If you can make most people believe that, then we're right.
I just wonder what
But
it is that makes that click over. Because I went into this, I mean, like the little a new meme I saw, I became a flat earther trying to debunk the flat earth. I went into this laughing and pointing fingers and calling it ridiculous, just like everyone we all encounter. And, here I am almost 2 years later with all the stuff we're doing, trying to show people what's going on. So I just wonder what it is it takes to make that click happen, where it's like, wait, this does make more sense than that crazy ball stuff.
Well, why don't you tell us? Maybe everybody, if they want to share, can tell us what was the moment for you.
The actual moment, I don't know. It was just a gradual dawning of certainty that everything I was looking for, I couldn't find. I mean, the first thing, of course, like everyone, NASA, instantly go there. And so I'm watching this ISS footage, and it's all nice and, lightning and aurora and air glow layer and beautiful.
Did we lose Walt?
I think so. It's too bad.
That's a bummer. We've got to get these hardware sorted out.
I'm not sure how much of this just isn't like Google just kicking people. It's pretty common.
I think it was.
It hates our work. We have enemies.
Mm-hmm.
I think that's paranoia.
Hat calls it remote editing. Yeah, remote editing.
It's not paranoia if they're out to get you.
They don't want you to know the truth.
Operation Shutdown.
That's
That's crazy.
back again.
Yeah, I'm back. But yeah,
Operation Shadowban.
exactly.
You know what you're saying? Well,
You dropped off for about a minute
just-
there, Walt.
The gradual dawning of looking for NASA's proof, and it was like with all this beautiful footage, and then I'm watching the live ISS feed myself on a regular basis, and it never looks like that. I mean, I was a NASA fanboy. I was watching the ISS feeds. I was behind it all, just kind of in a glancing way, not really paying much attention, seeing it on TV in a very
Walt,
yeah.
did you actually watch that ISS feed like hardcore at first?
I watched it like in the early days when they would actually show them doing quote unquote experiments, and it would be like silly things, just a really ridiculous thing.
Because I had heard
The
that
water
you can't.
blobs and
Oh, go ahead.
just like the silly little goofy things you see. It's like it's never any real science. It's always colored water drops floating around, or let's eat food that's floating in the air, or whatever. That's what they're showing us.
Space camp tricks.
Exactly. It's never like, let's take this magnet and this substance and let's do something in weightlessness and see what happens. It's never science. It's always goofy tricks for the show, for the cameras. But I mean, being the fanboy growing up like I did, I was 100% wanting to be a NASA. Somehow involved in NASA. I took the courses. I did the hard sciences. Constant, astrological and astronomy clubs, and I mean the whole 9 yards, and just never.
You wanted to go, didn't you?
Yeah,
you wanted
man.
to go to,
I
it was in your
I was
state.
going to be the astronaut. That was what it was all about. I watched the moonwalk in '69, and I was dead set on that.
Because I had heard.
So,
Yeah, that's really good.
So,
It's exactly the same with me.
I'm not
Basically,
sorry.
NASA.
well said.
It was, I'd done enough research to know that NASA's moon landings were a fake, but I never knew why. And then it basically took 1 hour or 2 hours listening to Eric Dubay on higher side chats, and that was it. Boom. But yeah, thanks so much to NASA
here's how bad.
for being so bad.
I feel
here's
I
how
owe them
bad
one.
I had it. I did the same research into the fake moon landing, and here's how indoctrinated I was. I convinced myself, well, we had to fake the first one because we didn't have the technology to get there. We had to beat the Russians, and Kennedy had made his big speech, so we had to fake the first one. But the rest were real for sure. The rest had to be real. I mean, that's how I lived the life for so long. But yeah, going back to rewatch it, and I didn't watch like the Dubay or the funny thing happened to the moon on the way to the moon. I watched ABC Presents the Moon,
Right.
just like it was presented to us in '69, and it was like watching a cartoon. It was like, wow, I was like 2 years old. I'm excused for believing this, but you grown-ups, you guys should have known
Wow.
this bullshit, man. It's ridiculous.
I'm sorry. This woman needs to interject. There's something I need to ask you about. There's a movie from Sundance that's coming out on September the 15th. It is called Operation Avalanche. Have you heard about it?
No, man. Fill us in.
Oh my
First.
gosh!
Yes, absolutely.
Operation Avalanche is a movie that was put together by a gentleman from Toronto and another gentleman. I don't know. I think he's from the United States, and it is with regard to the faking of the moon landing.
Mm-hmm.
And it was first,
Huh.
I think, released initial, like when they do their first showing of a movie to a select audience, and the feedback was overwhelming. They thought that this is really something. You should Google it. Definitely go Google Operation Avalanche coming September the 15th, because I think if this gets a hold of people, it's going to be fascinating.
Yeah, I tweeted that a couple of days ago, Operation Avalanche. I thought that was absolutely amazing. Do you know? I wonder if it's like Walt was saying that. Did anyone watch Moonwalkers?
No,
Yeah.
With the ginger kid off Harry Potter?
Yeah,
No.
I saw it.
Horrible way to describe him. Sorry. Yeah,
That was a home run, dude. I knew exactly who you were talking about.
Yeah,
You know, man,
okay. Right, okay. Well, he's done a comedy film called Moonwalkers, where they send the CIA over with a bag full of money to meet Kubrick in the UK and fake the moon landings, and it's hilarious. Anyway,
What's interesting is they did a cartoon movie of a spoof of that as well. Recently.
called Capturing the Flag.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah, go YouTube Capturing the Flag. All about they're doing the moon landings, and they're kicking over the light stands and and punching each other out. But yeah, this what I want to know is they
Hey
can
Josh, can I ask
monetize
you a
our
question?
channel.
Damn right
Why
you
does
can.
my little thing say off air?
Because we are off air on the Hangout. We are not broadcasting through the Hangout. We are broadcasting through OBS Broadcaster. So
We're
Right.
bypassing via satellite.
Yeah.
all
Like the
over
Beatles.
Oh
world.
my
man.
God! You mean they
Yeah.
exist? Oh my
We'll tell you about it afterwards, mate.
Do you know how they
Satellites.
announced satellite TV? They had a show with the Beatles on.
And Elvis.
Yeah.
Aren't they all
Live.
dead?
The Beatles?
Aren't they dead?
Well, Paul died in '66, didn't he?
Oh, yeah.
So they say.
Saul, or Fall as they call him now.
I was a Led Zeppelin fan.
And me.
Me too.
But dude, after I looked into them after waking up, woohoo, baby, that is some deep witchcraft.
There's
Oh,
a
yeah.
reason
Land.
Stairway to Heaven is the most popular song in the world.
Oh yeah, I mean, there's also a reason why all the songs that are popular today are popular in the first
Hey,
place.
Hack, do you
Uh-huh.
remember Over the Land of the Ice and Snow?
Yes. Yeah, dude.
They knew.
You know what we should do is we should run the lyrics through on one of those and just laugh.
all right,
Probably
here.
explode in a minute. Just for singing.
Savage, I have to tell you another thing. I
Mm.
took apart my microwave.
Oh, you still with
Like,
us?
well, my tongue was tingling while I was doing it.
Here, touch this capacitor.
Couldn't tell exactly if it was like me whacking the hammer or whatnot.
I just hope you did your research, because I've heard there's a
I did zero
magnetometer in there.
research. I did zero research. We had a conversation. I took my microwave apart.
Yeah, but that conversation was me telling you how I was going to take my microwave apart until I spoke to an industrial engineer who said don't ever touch one of those things with a barge pole. In fact, get rid of them.
That was the exact point that inspired me
It was
to take my microwave apart.
some free energy machine or device or something.
I just thought about all the warnings I ever read about distilled water, how it would kill you if it touched your lips. I looked at that thing and thought, oh, come on. They got one of these in every home in America. I'm taking
But
it
it's
apart.
not common knowledge to not. It's not common knowledge to know not to take it apart. Is my point. So yeah, but apparently it's the little thing that turns the plate. That thing apparently you can put in microvolts and get out kilovolts or something along those lines. So, yeah, but don't take my word for any of that. Good for you.
Okay, well, I got that. I got that part. You and I can work on that together.
Okay, do some research, please.
And John, I'm surprised you already haven't taken it apart from your stories of how you've been electrocuted and sticking forks in the sockets.
That was when I was 10. I like to think I've matured a bit since then. And,
That's right.
decided
Lesson
not
learned.
to take stuff apart and stick metal
I'd like
things
to ask
into
a
sockets.
question.
Go for it.
Go.
Okay. I'd like to know of the people that are in this chat, how many believe that the Flat Earth revelation has anything to do with God on the scale? Who believes here that this?
You mean the
flat
fact that it's being revealed now, or
Yes.
like just in general the fact that it?
The fact that it's being revealed now.
I think it's intelligent design. I think it is designed to have been released now.
Okay.
But I don't have a clue what.
What you just said?
No, well, yeah, or what God is.
Okay.
I believe that it is also points to a creator, to intelligent design, and I believe that this was made specifically for us to live, and that we are the center of the universe, and we always have been.
Right.
But I'm also really willing to admit there are a lot of things that we don't know yet. We are still, working through our math, working through our models. I can tell you for sure it's not a spinning ball that's going hundreds of thousands of kilometers through space. But that's about it.
Okay.
Oh, I don't know. There's a lot of prophecies about knowledge increasing in the last days.
Right.
There's one that says knowledge will increase and people run to and fro. The to and fro thing is a reference to sort of like satanic activity within people, like, or just going apart from God. That's what Satan does. He walks to and fro around the earth aimlessly. He wanders. He's got no point. And then the knowledge increasing, meaning real knowledge, not like the fake science, falsely called. But then there's also another one about him pouring his spirit out on men.
On all flesh.
And the young men. Yeah, the old men will prophecy, the young men will have dreams.
Yeah.
Well, this definitely has been something that revealed the Creator to me. Again, found my way back, however you want to say it. But I had been lost in the worldly way and lost in just the UFO lore and the alien mythology and the whole 9 yards. And just kept finding evil in it. I mean, that's all I kept seeing. There was no helpful brothers from the sky in any of the things I was finding. And just kept seeing the bad side of it. And it just kind of stepped away from all that. Was just doing strictly just sky research, looking at sky, stars, moon, etc. when I found this flat Earth thing. And
but Junie, I don't know. Oh, sorry.
Came home to me. It like lit a fire in me, like you said, just a pouring out of knowledge, again. Just a burning desire to tell people what's going on with this, and they can see, hey, look, there's way more in this world that you need to know about, and it's not even the world you think it is. That's the biggest part of it all.
Mm-hmm. That's what brings it all together is the flat Earth. That's when all the lights went on and all the everything
changed.
Oh
everything
man,
changed.
I've been
My
researching
life is different.
Yeah, I mean, I've been researching for years, and just like Walt, everything came down to good and evil at the end.
That's right.
At every conspiracy, aliens, anything, any economic, anything I looked at over the 10 years, it led to a feeder system that had two choices, good or
Good or
bad.
evil. Yeah.
That's it.
That's true.
And then
And you know what? That's the most amazing thing is that like we have been lied to for 500 years. Our generations, our children have been brought up with the globe, or like they say, the old proverbial globe on the desk. They have been taught that from day one, and we have been given this information, this awakening, and this awakening is for a reason, because what does it do? So many people who do not believe in a creator, who didn't believe in a creator, are pointed towards a God because of the fact of, look, the earth is domed. There's a firmament, as it said in his word, that is above, that we are protected, that the moon and the sun and the stars revolve around us, that we are the apple of the creator's eye. He is not thousands and billions and millions of miles somewhere out there revolving in endless space looking for, like chance that maybe God will sit down and look at us for a bit and pay attention to us. It says that God is close, that he's right above the firmament. This is not just from a Christian, it's also in the Islamic tradition. It's in the Jewish tradition that there is a firmament and that there is a
what's
God
interesting
above,
is
and
they
that
did
the
a
earth is
cartoon movie
stable, and it's
of
supported
a
on
spoof
pillars,
of
and it
that
will
as
not be
well.
moved. And
The other side of that
Thanks
too,
so
yeah.
much
the
to
side
NASA
that a lot
Here's
of
how
people
bad
use is, what does it tell
for
you
being
to
so.
know that they're hiding that, right? They're making us believe that because they don't want us to find out this fundamental truth, right? That's why
Yeah.
what did
And
Sagan say? We're a fleck of dust and a flea and a
That's right.
millions
you
in
know
the
that
sea.
Kansas song, all we are is dust in the wind, just dust in the wind. We're far more than dust in the wind. And it's like once a person opens up and believes the truth about it, it's like the floodgates open to the openness of yourself to understand it, and it's not something that you can ever walk away from once you believe it. Do you agree?
I agree, Junie. Though I wanted to finish that
Sorry.
I'm not really sure. I'm really protective of the idea of it being of God that the revelation is coming out now, or at least I don't know what you call it.
Okay.
I don't know what to call it. Suspicious. I'm
Mm-hmm.
suspicious that it's not. I mean, all things are of God, but this is sort of like you were saying. It's coming out of a lot of avenues,
Right.
and not the Christian one. So I don't know.
I really truly believe that the other side of the coin with this truth, that's true, the truth that people are learning, because it says that in the last days that knowledge would be increased. That what just supposing, just follow me with this thought for 1 minute. What if this is God's warning to man before he comes back? I am telling you this truth. You have been lied to by the evil one. NASA.gov, who is at the very head of that? What is it that if there is good and if there is evil, what is it that the evil would want? Is to hide the face of God. How would they hide the face of God? By telling you that you are on a ball, that you are spinning in space, and that our scientists and our physicists know everything that there is to tell you about the universe. You do not need to go to God. So then if they can teach you that you believe in this ball, they can teach you that you evolved from apes, or that they can teach you that you evolved from a big bang that was nothing, that exploded into something, that turned into everything, that became absolutely just pristine in every way, right down to the very fibers of humanity, and like to your eyesight, to your fingers that can move without you even thinking about them. Like no divinity within their creation would hide the God, so that what if God is giving mankind their final chance to wake up by waking them up and telling them, the evil one is lying to you about my face. They are taking my glory of my creation, and they took it for themselves. Look, we can go to the moon. We can go to Jupiter. We've named all of the stars that God said that he named by himself, and we gave them names like
Wow.
Mercury, Adonis, Jupiter, Saturn, even the space missions, Columbia, Atlantis.
Atlantis.
You know, like everything is backwards. Oh, my phone. Hold on. Sorry about that.
That was some pretty heavy truth.
But
Amen.
it's the
That's
truth.
great stuff. I second that.
Really
It's the
amazing.
truth, man.
Great
Rapture.
question too, Junie.
Soon
Jimmy
coming.
rocks.
If there is one, we don't know. But
How
we don't know
long
all the
have
answers.
you
But what
have
we
you
do
always
know.
been a Christian, or have you
No, you
always
know
had?
what? I was a Christian. I became a Christian, but I was backslidden for years. But this just absolutely just drove me right back to it.
So there was no point where you thought, "Nah, I'm an atheist or agnostic. I don't know."
Until the point when I was in my early 20s, when I came to believe that he was who he was. I mean, I was like the rebel rouser, your typical, like poster
Mm.
child for the 70s arsehole. But
Was,
that's the Canadian saying.
was that
But
a sort of personal encounter, or
very much so.
just
Not in any church building. No, absolutely not.
see
None.
that's what I've lacked. I don't know about anyone else,
I do
but
not trust religious organizations. I'm sorry.
Me
I
neither.
think that
I
the
don't-
churches are
Thank you.
really,
Me neither.
really the face of Satan in a lot of cases, because they are actually keeping people from knowing about a truth, about a God.
You
To hell
know,
with religion, go to God.
you plant them in the church to take the church down from the inside. They've been doing that from day one.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
well,
And,
from what I've been seeing is the UN has, all these churches, these little independent churches and all the rest of it, they've been
Hello?
slowly
Debbie, I'll call you
signing up
back.
to the UN. That the UN International Bible or whatever it is. Has anyone else noticed this?
The change?
Yeah, they're trying to put
They're
it all,
changing the
everything
word.
together. Yeah.
like the new international version of the Bible or whatever. I mean, that differs
That
wildly.
thing makes my skin crawl.
Yeah, right. Yeah, well, I don't know, but I mean,
When I hear
'cause
people read from it, I want to take it out of their hand and beat them with it.
I mean, that's what I noticed is that if you're going to subvert a belief or whatever, then you hijack the churches, the religions, and you
And
get them to sign up to something on akin to a treaty where you have to do this, or we won't line your pockets this year, or you have to preach
True enough.
this or that.
Well, because the churches are tax exempt, they have to follow strict
501c3.
guidelines by the government. So then, in order for them to keep their tax exempt status, then they need to toe the line of their governments. The governments have as much power over what's said in the churches than as the ministers, the so-called ministers that are like teaching these the flock, the sheeple. Like the certain tenets of their belief system that they want to keep people within the line that they want them to be kept in. But what about telling them the truth? What about here's what's going to happen, and this is exactly what's going to happen. The Christian churches are going to be put into the fire because of the fact that how can you, as an honest to gosh Christian, if you truly believe that the Bible is exactly the Word of God, how can you send your children off to schools that teach them that the earth is a globe and that NASA is doing wonderful things? How can you do it? Either you believe in a God that said, I created the heavens and the earth. I put above the earth a firmament. I put within the firmament the sun, the moon, and the stars. My earth is stable. It does not move. Yet they'll send the children off to school to be indoctrinated into believe that the earth spins at 186,000 miles while hovering around the sun.
But that's the control they have because a lot of people are poor. They don't have a choice. They have to go to those schools.
But the time is coming where they're going to have to speak up and take a stand, because flat earth truth is going to be spread far and wide, because if it is truth, it cannot be subdued.
See, I come at a slightly different angle. In so far as I'm still not there on the the faith and the religion and God side of things. Not religion, sorry, but
Yeah, it's a bad word.
yeah, really bad word. Where I'm coming at it from is that entirely agree. What I've done with my children is show them why it's a stationary flat Earth with experiments and science, and then explain to them that they need to understand how the heliocentric work or model works, so that they can use that to bolster their own understanding of what they've witnessed themselves in scientific truth. So in a roundabout sort of way, we're saying exactly the same, but I'll send them to school to learn what's wrong, basically.
That's wonderful that you're bringing your children up to see the truth, because, I mean, as we grow, as people, more people are aware of this, I think more people are going to be awakened and start to realize that, hey, the minute you send your children into that school, they're being indoctrinated into the system of what we have been taught for 500 years.
Yeah.
And we know it's a lie, don't we?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, the questions I've asked myself, is evolution correct, or is the Big Bang? What's the evidence there is for the Big Bang, or whatever? That I've gone through that with my children at the same time, so that we're learning at the same time and seeing that evolution is complete rubbish, or speculation, along with the Big Bang and along with a lot of other things.
I believe we're fearfully and wonderfully made. I think he's absolutely right that every hair on our head is counted. He says so. He knows us while we're in our mother's womb. How much closer can you get to a God? And he didn't say you had to find that out if you walk into a church building. Teach your children how much this God loves you. And if you want to know proof of how much he loves you, go to his word. That's it.
Simple. I like, for anybody listening, Trey Smith, if anybody's familiar with him, he has an excellent documentary on, it's actually, I think, 100 ways to disprove Darwinism and evolution. I highly recommend it if anybody...
I've watched Trey. I like him.
Yeah.
Janie, great question.
Also a new Trey person.
How did you find the Hangout? Can we ask?
I was looking. I've been following the Full Armor of God on Twitter, and I saw.
Thank you.
Oh yeah, I just love you. I think you're just marvelous. I have so much respect for you. And I was just looking on Flat Earth on Twitter, as I always do, and there it was, Hangout. And I said, how the hell did you do this? So then old Grandma goes in there and tries to figure out her way around. Finally, she made it in here.
Oh, man.
Awesome, so awesome.
I'm so proud.
Can we ask what your Twitter handle is?
Sure. That would be Amber See-Through.
Thank you. Thank you. Josh, you still there? Josh?
Have we lost that guy? Uh-oh.
He's muted.
He's just night crawling. Well, Jenny, I'm so glad you found us.
I'll just put my 2 cents into that discussion.
Go ahead, Rob.
Rob, go ahead.
Yeah, I am far away from God, and probably more than any of yous.
Not for long.
I go by proofs of what we can prove by our own eyes, like boats not going over the horizon, the crepuscular rays, and proofs like that. I can't prove that there's a God, and trying to talk to someone and tell them that the Bible said that it was a flat Earth. No one's going to believe me if you say that. So yeah, I just stick far, far away. Everyone knows that. Everyone knows what I'm like. I'm not. Yeah, I'll go nowhere near religion as a talking point.
And
that's shame of that, Rob.
No, and that's why Flat Earth is so great, because it's everybody's doing it, not just Christians, not just Muslims, atheists. Like everybody's in on it. So we respect that, Rob. And
I do probably believe that there was someone that made us. Now I was an atheist. I do believe that there's probably someone that made us,
that's awesome.
I can't prove it. I can't prove it.
That's
I
a
can't
huge
prove it, so I'm not
step,
going to try and
Rob.
prove it.
That's a huge thing to admit, Rob.
Mm. Yeah, well, there's no other way around it, is there, really?
Well, I was exactly the same, yeah, and I came to the conclusion, sort of logical conclusion of intelligent design. You've only got to look at your hand.
Mind you, John. I never really believed the Big Bang either. That just seemed like fucking
No,
fairy
that's
tale to me.
yeah, yeah. But it was
All right, I
easy
have to throw a
to
monkey
take because
wrench in the whole works.
Okay. Go ahead.
All
Go.
right. When you said crepuscular rays, it reminded me of something I wanted to bring up a little bit earlier. Josh, can you go to the picture I posted in the Hangout area? It's the last one of the field and the sun rays coming in from the left. It's a picture I took trying to capture some rays that were coming out and making a rainbow in the sky to the right, which I can show you that picture later too. But as I was going back through the pictures and looking at the picture, I noticed the troughs in the plowed field collected water, and the way they are all heading out into the horizon area, very similarly to crepuscular rays, which really gave me a bit of a pause. Because, you know, if you take that picture and follow those lines out, it looks like it's going to come to a point somewhere. But I know from standing in front of the field that it doesn't. And that also made me think about looking down train tracks. At some point down the horizon line, it looks like those tracks are going to meet, but we know they're not. So maybe there's more going on with the crepuscular rays than we think as far as distance and proof of distance or whatever. I don't know, just something to kind of, you know, show that I am looking at both sides of this thing, not just trying to make it flat all the time. I am looking at anything that kind of might throw a wrench in things. I want to look at it too.
Yeah, I'm
Those
with you,
rays
Rob.
don't look like they go 3,000 miles up and touch either, too. Some of
No.
the rays that I see, are on a really, really horizontal angle,
Yep.
and
Kind
they
of
look
like that picture.
they look like they're touching just above the clouds. They don't look like they're meeting far above the clouds at all.
What gets me is that we think these we're led to believe these rays are coming 93 million miles in a straight
Which
parallel
makes no sense either.
ray,
Yeah.
and
makes
then they hit the atmosphere, the clouds, whatever, and they splay into what we see. Now, the problem I've got with that is if I wouldn't have a problem with that if I saw them splaying in all different directions, you know,
Right.
random splay, like they just hit something and boing, but they all point back to exactly the same point. They all appear, should I say, to point back to the same point. But yeah, I have thought about that, Walt. Maybe the light, maybe the sun's a strip light.
Yeah, it helps when you think of crepuscular rays is not that you're looking at sunbeams, but that you're looking at shadows.
Hey, that's a thought. That's a different way to think about it, indeed.
Yeah, okay,
Shadows and
so-
clouds were an early proof, or not necessarily a proof, but an early thing in my research when I was doing the beach and things like that. That, I mean, I could see interplay with lights and shadows with clouds that just did not make sense at all if the sun was 93 million miles away. I've posted a few of them over time in Twitter. I could probably find them and pull them up so you guys can see them too. But just very bizarre angles casting shadows of clouds onto other clouds. It made no sense if the sun is 93 million miles away. Not even if it's a million miles away.
This is a problem. A lot of this is never going to make sense until we can actually physically test it ourselves, which leads me to stick to things, you know, only on a personal level as proofs, of things that we can actually test ourselves on the ground, every man. Things like, you know, where the sun is and all that. I love talking about it, but ultimately we're not going to be able to know until we can physically experiment on it.
I got one I was thinking about today. What's the radius of the Earth?
No idea.
Isn't it 25,000 miles around?
Does it have a radius?
If it's 25,000 miles around,
Could be square.
what's the radius? The radius would be from the center to the edge.
Yep.
3959.
No,
I
that's
believe it's
is
a
that the
circle.
radius?
That's what Google's giving me.
Okay, so after 93 million miles, how is it that like the noonday sun, when we're pointing directly at the sun, and it's really strong, and then we turn a quarter turn up or down, and so the sun's setting or rising, and the sun's not as powerful after only 3959 after 93 million miles. That one always gets me.
Right. Well, that's like
That's a good
summer and
point.
winter.
And like,
That's
how do we
like-
even have an Arctic thing if at that point? It makes no sense. It's like the Goldilocks bandwidth of our sunshine from 93 million miles is not proportionate.
How is it the northern winter is 3 million miles closer to the sun?
Thank you.
And the fact that all but one of the top 14 highest temperatures were recorded in the north.
Well, that's the 23.4 degree tilt, man. Didn't you hear? Come on. Like that's
Like, look at the
that-
shadows.
That
666.
tilt would be about what? Couple of thousand degrees. I mean, a couple thousand miles. Not even. It'd be about 1,000 miles maybe. So that's going to negate 93 million miles.
Have some respect,
3 million
Walt.
miles difference.
That-
Whatever.
That
See, that's my
tilt is
math.
what
I'm terrible.
allows us to exist.
The magical.
What is
Golden
it? One
area.
degree. 1 degree is what? 59 miles. We're told.
There you go.
1 degree is 70 miles.
Really?
Okay.
Is that
See?
nautical or
Well, it's
land?
360 into whatever, then the 25.
Is that nautical miles or?
Cubits again.
Yeah. What is it? Celestrons or something?
Parsecs.
Well, it would be minutes of arc.
If we knew the size of the circumference, yeah.
Yeah, like we
I don't-
can't actually transfer the thingy over. It's so difficult because once you go to radians or the degree measurements math, that's a separate math, and the non-Euclidean, which does the curve, which is not geometry, which is what we fly according to. So the math doesn't transfer basically. You'd have
That's
to.
because it's all mathology.
You'd have to create. This is how they keep everybody stupid. You have to create your own conversions for what would be like a radian to the 25, and then you're just basically going off of phantom numbers because 25 is a phantom number.
Well, a big way they confuse us is by getting us to use compasses instead of gyro compasses. So they get us going round and round in circles of the North Pole, as opposed to going in straight lines with a gyro compass. I had to get gyros in there somehow, didn't I?
Can you explain to me the difference between a compass and a gyro compass?
Someone saying shush.
No. Nobody
Don't
said
get him
that.
started. A compass points, obviously it's got one needle and it points towards north, magnetic north. Whereas a gyro compass, you can fire that up and point it wherever you want. Say, well, north, in west, and east, and all these sort of things don't really count anymore with a gyro compass because it's pointing off to infinity in space. But it means that over the flat Earth, it means that you can fly from A to B with the shortest distance. Whereas if you use a compass, you're flying from A to B using the Great Circle, which is not the shortest distance, it's going in a big arc, because you're following east or west or whatever along those lines. Does that make sense?
So the gyro compass is like the same thing that a gyro is, but it has like a north, south, west, east indicator.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And so you can, it'll point like three-dimensionally where the North Pole is or something, like down or...
Well, now put it this way, right? If you've got a plate and you're somewhere not in the center, not on the edge. You're somewhere in the middle of the plate, yeah. And you want to get to the opposite side of the equivalent opposite side of the plate. I don't know if this is going to make any sense. If
Yeah,
you
go ahead.
traveled using a compass as the North Pole being the center of the plate, you would follow the east or west trajectory, and it would lead you in a large circle, a semicircle around to the opposite side of the plate. Now that would be a lot of miles traveled, as opposed to if you fired up a gyroscope at the start and pointed it at B, at the destination, you'd be going straight across the middle of the North Pole, the center of the plate, and it would, be half the distance, or 2/3 of the distance, as opposed to going all the way around the outside of the plate. Does that make sense?
It does. So this is something that it would be useful on a globe, should all these things be true. But since we're on a flat Earth, we basically get that effect with the compass if we have because you need a map. Because if you're navigating the other way around, where you're using like the stars to go north or south, I see what you're saying. But if you actually have a map and you're using the azimuth equidistant shoot, you're shooting an azimuth, and you're shooting at. In the end, like, you kind of have to know where B is, right?
Yeah.
So you use a compass to navigate on the flat Earth, and that's what they do. The rest of it would be like, what's missing, right? Like, why don't we have a gyro compass? The gyro compass would do you no good on real world.
Well, a gyro compass. Well, it's the other way around. A gyro compass is pointless on a spinning ball, but it's of utmost importance on the flat Earth. And this is what confused me for so long: is that everyone would bring up gyro compasses and stuff.
Well, where are the gyro compasses at?
How do you mean where they're at? They're in aeroplanes and on ships and all this sort of stuff. But I never knew why they needed them. If you've got a compass, why the hell do you need a gyro compass that needs recalibrating every 15 minutes or whatever they claim to do? 'Cause I don't think they actually do that. I think that's a claim that because that's what they'd have to do if they were on a spinning ball. They'd have to recalibrate this thing every 5
I don't think
minutes.
they have this gyro compass on planes.
Yeah, they do. Yeah.
Yes, they do, and they do not.
I think
need
they
to
just
be
use the
calibrated.
gyro.
Gyros do not need to be calibrated. That's the very proof, because
They tell you it's a gyro compass. It's just a gyro.
Well, you can build your own gyro compass, and they've got uses, but I never understood what the use was until I realised that they're used in substitution for a magnetic compass. They're used in order to go the shortest distance between a point A and point B, rather than using a compass which would send you on a great circle around the outside.
Yeah, but Savage, if there's gyro compasses that a plane can use to compensate for a curve in a plane right now, then our whole gyros poop a flat Earth argument goes to poopers.
No, it doesn't. No.
Can I say something?
Yeah.
What about relativity? I'm sorry.
The gyro is used to keep a level. The plane, it's an indication of the level of the plane. And when the plane is up in the air on the flat Earth, the level does not change. It remains absolutely flat.
Yeah, you're talking in terms of an attitude indicator, and that's one configuration of a gyroscope is to tell you what when you're going down a hill or when you're going up a hill or when you're descending or ascending.
Exactly.
But if you change the configuration of that gyroscope so that the rotor is horizontal rather than the rotor is vertical rather than horizontal, it's got the spin axis that is horizontal, not vertical. Then you can point it at something and use it as a gyro compass. So, but you're not using the North Pole or anything magnetic as a guide to your gyro compass. You're literally pointing your gyroscope at the point B, your destination, from point A, where you're starting from, and then it will always point at that destination, or as long as you don't vary it offline. I don't know if that makes sense.
It does.
Well, if you have your basic gyro, like the one that you built and put on your countertop, and it's built inside the plane so that it's level, and then zeroed out there, so that's like, instead of a compass outward, it's sort of an inward compass, so that the plane itself can sense how far off the gyro it is when the gyro is on. You get the gyro set at level, zeroed out, and then you can tell how much you climb by how long and how fast you came off of zero, because the gyro didn't move, but the plane gyroed around it or compassed around it. And then when you come back down, you can start telling, okay, this is level. Now you have two indicators: the gyro, previous zero set, and your dashboard, glass of water. And then when you get your heading from a map or from a computer or from the whole calculation, is you point your plane at it, you release the gyro, you point your plane where you got to go, and then you set your gyro, and now you have a plane that senses basically any deviation from that heading, so that you can guide yourself to that heading no matter what happens. The gyro won't change.
Yeah.
And so if you turn left, the gyro stays, but like the gyro stays, and the plane senses that it stayed, and you turn left around it, and you go up or down, it does all the same stuff. It's all zeroed. It's all, level.
Your average commercial airline at the moment, your average commercial plane has, about a dozen gyroscopes on board.
Yeah, but if all it would have to do is have a computer program at the interface between the compass and the gyro part.
Yep.
And just say, and tell it to account for a curve that's 8 inches per mile squared, and there is your gyro on a globe.
And they do have these little yellow boxes that claim to do exactly that.
Exactly, they claim to do it.
Till we got to the point where one of them failed, and the guy was told to fly without it anyway and call in every 15 minutes to adjust his gyroscope and compass, and he found after a 6-hour flight that he didn't have to adjust it at all. So then he came out questioning this little black box, which is only made by one country, company.
Yeah, it doesn't exist.
Who don't want to talk, who can't be contacted, who send complete
Dude, it's like your iPhone. It's designed to be like this really sort of piece of equipment, but in reality, it's just something else, far simpler. It's
like
just
the
a gyro.
GoPro camera.
It's just a gyro in a box, dude, like the one you have on your countertop.
It's a sealed unit. You're not allowed in it. You're not allowed.
You
shouldn't be going in it. Just like your microwave.
If you invent the gyro compass, dude, you're going to be a billionaire, because that's not one of them.
Gyro compasses work. They work
for
getting to A to B on a flat Earth. That's exactly what they were designed to do. But that's not what we're told they're doing. Which is why they've got to make up all this rubbish like Schuler tuning and recalibrating it every 15 minutes and all this sort of gibberish. They're just not describing.
Like how NASA keeps changing the distances every so often so the math works. It's 90 million miles. It's 95, 100 million miles. It's 4 billion light galaxies away. It's all rubbish.
It's interesting, the story about Picard, is it not?
Oh, yeah.
And it's amazing.
I don't know it.
What? Have you seen the commercial, the Guinness?
Yeah.
August Picard.
August Picard. Such a lovely name. Picard.
Yes.
And the guy from, what is it, Star Trek? One of those.
Star Trek Next Generation.
The best captain ever.
Do you know what's funny?
The best.
I'm not a nerd, by the way, but maybe.
No, not at all.
Yeah, I don't watch TV. That magazine from Popular Science from 1931 of August that had the story about August Picard and that balloon that he took into the atmosphere. Do you know that one guy had that magazine and he is selling it on eBay he started out selling it for $4,000.
He's selling what?
The magazine that contained the actual article of August Picard was Popular Science from August 1931.
Damn, I thought he was selling the capsule.
Oh, that would have been cool.
Yeah, can you imagine having that old magazine laying around your house?
I think we'd have to launch it again.
Hmm.
I'll be up for that. Who would be up for going into a pressurized
I
ball
would.
I'm ready.
and firing it up to, well, not firing it, but floating it up to the stratosphere? This is the guy who
No.
was the first person to get into the stratosphere,
Yep.
and he said to me, "It appears flat with upturned edges."
Yep.
Was he not 10 miles
100
up?
years ago. I think he was over that, 11 miles maybe.
To me, the most fascinating one was the Go Fast in the desert in the United States. They launched that rocket, the Go Fast rocket, and it
Yes,
went
ma'am.
up 14 miles. And when they went up into the atmosphere, and they broke that they were showing the moon, they could see. And there was a guy that noticed that, hey, they did that from Arizona, somewhere in the desert, and the moon should have not been visible in Arizona because the moon should have been over Australia. When he did the calculations, and there is a program that you can check to see where the moon is at that was June the 14th, 2014,
Mm-hmm.
and the moon was visible, and it shouldn't have been visible if it was a ball. It shouldn't have been visible, but of course we know it's a flat Earth. Therefore, the moon was there, was in all its glory.
Yes, ma'am. We actually looked into that at length in one of our early attempts at a show. My brother did a graphical presentation. Well, the first part was to show the Felix Baumgartner jump and how
Yeah,
from his
GoPro.
height, you really wouldn't have been able to see an ocean, which was one of the memes everybody kept putting around. If that's the whole Earth, where are the oceans? From the Felix footage. But
Wow.
he also turned it around the other way for me and said, okay, let's look at that Go Fast launch. So he did the whole Earth, he did the moon on the other side, and he did the rocket up, which I think it's 73 miles actually was the record they broke.
Was
I'm
it?
pretty sure. Yes, ma'am. I'm pretty sure because I've watched that footage a few times. That's the one where the rocket hits the area and slows the spin all of a sudden at the end.
Instantly, it stops.
Yes, ma'am. Yes,
twisting.
ma'am.
Yeah.
Right. That's the one. That's
That's
73
awesome.
miles. So
My
he
buddy
draws
has
a
seen both
big-
of those. He thinks they prove nothing. He aggravates me.
Wow.
I know that's so frustrating. At least my brother looked at it and went, that's kind of crazy because he still can't explain how the sun and moon are both visible when there's no way it could have been. And his graphic shows there's no way you could have seen the moon on the other side of the Earth. There's no angle it would have been possibly visible at from that height. So yeah,
The one that I liked was when they shot up in nighttime with a camera overlooking and saw the sun.
Yes,
oh,
I
yes,
saw that.
yes,
It's
yes.
awesome.
I like that
Yeah.
one.
What do we think about Globebusters balloon launch? Coming up soon.
Is it actually going to happen?
Is that where's Patricia Steer and them?
Say again.
I've kind of been out of touch. I don't know
Yeah,
what's going on.
Is that Patricia Steer and them peoples?
No, it's
No, he's
Bob,
usually associated with her.
Bob Xanadu 60, Jaren,
Morgan.
a friend of Bob's. They're doing a nighttime launch with cameras pointing straight up to look at the stars.
Oh,
Because they're thinking that at some point they're going to go above the stars, or the stars are going to disappear, or something along those lines.
31 of August that had the story about August Picard and that balloon that he took into the atmosphere. Do you
Yes,
know
ma'am.
that one guy had that magazine and he is selling it on eBay he started out selling it for $4,000.
He's selling what?
The magazine that contained the actual article of August Picard was Popular Science from August 1931.
Damn, I thought he was
That
selling the
is,
capsule.
oh, that would have been cool.
Yeah, can you imagine having that old magazine laying around your house?
I think we'd have to launch it again.
Hmm.
I'll be up for that. Who would be up for going into a pressurized
I
ball
would.
I'm ready.
and firing it up to, well, not firing it, but floating it up to the stratosphere. This is the guy who went, who was the first person to get into the stratosphere,
Yep.
and he said to me, it appears flat with upturned edges.
Yep.
Was he not 10 miles
100
up?
years ago. I think he was over that, 11 miles maybe.
To me, the most fascinating one was the Go Fast in the desert in the United States. They launched that rocket, the Go Fast rocket, and it
Yes,
went
ma'am.
up 14 miles. And when they went up into the atmosphere, and they broke that they were showing the moon, they could see. And there was a guy that noticed that, hey, they did that from Arizona, somewhere in the desert, and the moon should have not been visible in Arizona because the moon should have been over Australia. When he did the calculations, and there is a program that you can check to see where the moon is at that was June the 14th, 2014, and the moon was visible, and it shouldn't have been visible if it was a ball. It shouldn't have been visible, but of course we know it's a flat Earth. Therefore, the moon was there, was in all its glory.
Yes, ma'am. We actually looked into that at length in one of our early attempts at a show. My brother did a graphical presentation. Well, the first part was to show the Felix Baumgartner jump and how from his height, you really wouldn't have been able to see an ocean, which was one of the memes everybody kept putting around. If that's the whole Earth, where are the oceans? From the Felix footage. But he also turned it around the other way for me and said, okay, let's look at that Go Fast launch. So he did the whole Earth, he did the moon on the other side, and he did the rocket up, which I think it's 73 miles actually was the record they broke.
Was it?
I'm pretty sure. Yes, ma'am. I'm pretty sure because I've watched that footage a few times. That's the one where the rocket hits the area and slows the spin all of a sudden at the end.
Instantly, it stops.
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am. Yeah. Right. That's the one. That's 73
awesome.
miles. So
my
he
buddy has seen both of those. He thinks they prove nothing. He aggravates me.
Wow.
I know, that's so frustrating. At least my brother looked at it and went, that's kind of crazy, because he still can't explain how the sun and moon are both visible when there's no way it could have been. And his graphic shows there's no way you could have seen the moon on the other side of the Earth. There's no angle it would have been possibly visible at from that height. So, yeah.
The one that I liked was when they shot up in nighttime with a camera overlooking and saw the sun.
Yes.
Oh,
I
yes,
saw that.
yes,
It was awesome.
I like that one.
What do we think about Globebusters balloon launch? Coming up soon.
Is it actually going to happen?
Is that where's Patricia Steer and them?
Say again.
I've kind of been out of touch. I don't know what's going on.
Is that Patricia Steer and them peoples?
No, it's
no, he's usually associated with her.
Bob Xanadu 60, Jaron
Morgan,
a friend of Bob's. They're doing a nighttime launch with cameras pointing straight up to look at the stars. Because they're thinking that at some point they're going to go above the stars, or the stars are going to disappear, or something along those lines.
I'm willing to bet they won't be able to get through the firmament. Sorry.
That sounds like a really bad way to go, but whatever.
Yeah. Jaron and his crew are some of my favorite people as far as the research they do, but this is the second time that a balloon has been talked about. The first time around, it was a bust because I was trying to get in on that.
They've got a date now, apparently.
And don't forget the laser experiment was a bust, too.
I don't know if I would call that one a bust. I mean, it didn't go like they planned, but you could definitely see it across the water when she had the camera on the other side. You couldn't see it on the board, but you could see the laser. So I don't know. That's a hard call.
I just don't think it was well thought through at that point.
No, it definitely was just like it'd be like if I went out early on, right? It was like when I first went out and tried to do my first beach footage, it didn't turn out. It got corrupted.
It wasn't commensurate with his. Yeah. His videos up to that point were extremely coherent, in depth, thoughtful, rational. It was not congruent for him. It didn't even occur to me the laser would disperse either.
Right.
But you know, heck,
Well,
now it's
just
like every time someone says use a laser, you go, oh, how expensive is a laser? It's not really a great
But
test.
then
It's
look
like
at
kind of
that
designed to
laser.
fail almost.
Look at that video today with the laser test part 2 over,
with David.
yeah,
Part.
that's right. Over, what was it,
See,
6,000 meters or something.
my my thought is this: we as a group and other groups like our group should start organizing their own stuff as well. I'd love to send up a balloon with you guys. I mean, that's what individual groups of people who are true flat earthers who understand the zetetic principle and like who actually want to get out there and test it. That's what they should do, and I
As
think
long
we
as
should.
there's no money involved, then I'm all game,
Me
because
too.
as soon as you introduce money, everything goes to rat shit. I live near Glastonbury, and believe me, I've seen it thousands of times.
Oh no, we can't do this for the money. I mean, maybe we could raise funds for the equipment, but that's the extent of it.
Now I think donations only. I think if people
That's
want
that's what I
to,
mean.
yeah, I mean donation. Here's a balloon, or here's a cage or whatever. But yeah,
I
I
think
suppose
try to
money.
make we should play with gyros until we invent something, and then take it to the market and make hell of money.
Well, I mean, it's great. Globebusters of that flight trainer, pilot trainer, who's volunteered all his airplanes for any flat Earth experiments that you can think of. Did you hear that one?
No, that it's
It reminds me of Nazca lines I was looking at yesterday.
Right, yeah. Yeah, I mean, testing curvature or gyroscopes or anything. This guy he's
Or
the
even
guy who
going out
originally
there.
went on Mark Sargent's show. He was an airline pilot. He's a flight trainer. He's got his own flight, pilot training school, and yeah, he's volunteered any planes or whatever necessary. All you got to do is fire up a gyroscope in Canada and fly it to Mexico, and the thing should be way off the chart. The thing should be exactly the amount of degrees out. Say you start off at 60 degrees and you land at 10 degrees, then your gyroscope should be 50 degrees out. And it won't be. It will be flat. It will be exactly the same as when you took off, because otherwise it wouldn't be bloody used. And then you could sit your plane on the runway in Mexico and wait for 12 hours and see if or not 6 hours, and see if your gyroscope is 90 degrees out, because it should be if you're on a spinning ball. So right there you can tell if you're on a ball and if it's spinning. Crickets.
I'm listening.
Are we still alive here?
Yeah, I think so.
Excellent. Can I bring up one more subject before Brandon goes to bed?
Please do.
Okay, you know what I find really fascinating, and I'm going to go back into this with the lies of NASA, is NASA, how far you have fallen. There used to be the day when they returned back to space that these big, beautiful warships would go out into the ocean in their full armament and with all their uniforms and the brass band and everything and pick them up out of the water. Do you see how they're picked up lately? In Kazakhstan. Have you seen it? They landed
Yeah.
a field.
It's in the middle of Russia or
Oh
something,
my
isn't it?
dear heavens! What do you know? That is hilarious. How come nobody's talking about this? How far you have fallen, O
I
Satan!
was in Kazakhstan once. It was horrific. It was a nuclear wasteland.
It's like a sort of, it's like a dog turd. They sort of flush on,
Oh,
brush onto a
they come
shovel.
down. They land back down on Earth in this parachute, and the parachute drops the capsule, and the capsule looks like a throwback from 1969. You know, that little capsule that landed in the water with a big splash? Well, they're not landing in the water, they're landing in a field in Kazakhstan, and then you have these people that look like a 1964 era coming with, all in their naval uniforms that look like they're 40 years old, and they put them in lawn chairs, and they carry them off to this field, and then you have this woman that's taking their pulse, and it's like a gong show.
It's probably not even Kazakhstan. It's probably Arizona. It's probably Area 51. I mean, it's
I
just,
I urge you, please take a look at the last return of what's the name of the evil twin there? There's two. What was the name of that NASA guy? Two of them. They're both
oh yeah,
bald-headed twins. Well, his
yeah.
last return, they did that to him too. Oh, the humiliation.
Oh, you got me thinking now. What is his name?
I can't remember.
Collins. No.
All right, I am back. I apologize for the.
Welcome
All right,
back.
come on, Walt. Name the space twins.
Who the
The bald space
He looks
twins.
like a
Yeah.
mini-me.
I know
Scott Kelly.
There
Kelly.
you go. There you go. Little
because one of them was the fake astronaut and one of them was the fake retired astronaut who's married to the fake head wound injured
shooting
fake
victim. Oh my
centrist
dear.
chick. Oh my god, that is the most ludicrous thing I've ever seen.
Is it just
Um,
me,
I mean,
or
you
is there a reference there to a fatal head wound, or some sort of biblical reference to
Possibly so.
a head wound there?
Possibly so.
Didn't she
They
lose
did everything
the
they
sight
can.
in one eye?
I know she lost the ability to act. I'm not sure about anything else.
Oh dear.
Yeah. No, but NASA, like you say, Junie, sorry, NASA just gets worse and worse. It seems.
Yep.
They don't care.
That's right. They're losing it big time. Like I was saying, I don't know if you heard about it, but the return from space, like after a year, and they land in a field in Kazakhstan with a parachute and this old capsule that looks like something from 1969, and then they're carried off of the field in lawn chairs with blankets wrapped around them. How far have they fallen?
What about the SpaceX stuff?
Oh, that's such a joke. I have. Oh my God, I have. When the one went down, and when they did the second last one, I videotaped that live feed. Those three SpaceX goons that they have, like the front people, the young girl, and the two young men. I copied that. I took video of that. And do you know that it's so cut up when that rocket is supposedly landed? It's amazing. And then they cleaned it up, but I have the original before they cleaned it up.
Yeah, it just sort of goes offline and then poof, we're back
Oh,
online and
we
there
might
it
cut
is
out
landed.
because the vibration from the satellite might cause the feed to cut out. Well, my God, if you can send a rocket in millions of miles supposedly into space, what's your problem with a little jiggling of your satellite feed? What's that problem? You can't do that?
They can send us cartoons of Pluto from 1 billion miles away or whatever it is, but yep,
True enough.
that's a problem. There's a
How
lot
do you
to
hang
answer
up
for.
here? It's time for Grandma to go to bed, but I just want to say before I go how wonderful it is to talk to fellow believers like you guys, and it's really nice that you put up with me tonight.
Thanks, Junie. You're welcome.
No,
anytime.
Jenny, yes,
All
you
right.
were so great, so great, so great. And
Yeah,
at
breath
some
of
point,
fresh air.
we're going to
Okay.
ask Full Armor to drop a like an invitation into like this general chat group we have going with a
Sure.
bunch of people who are just open to these ideas, and they'll gladly welcome you, and you'll be amongst kind-hearted people.
I
Yeah,
will be.
thanks.
I will be spreading the word. Good night, gentlemen.
Thanks, Junie. And
Bye. Bye now.
just for the listeners, Junie's on at Amber See-Through on Twitter. So I urge everyone to go and follow her. That was brilliant. Awesome questions.
Yes.
How long have we been running?
I'm looking for that right now. I was about to say maybe we should just wrap it up at this point, but I can't get back to that screen. Plus, the man is not
Yeah, that
here
was
in
clean.
control.
Any feedback, guys? Bit quiet.
That was super clean. I'm gonna bow out now. I'll talk to you guys later.
Cool. Okay, Hack.
All right.
Cheers for that.
Take care, brother.
Hack, what's your Twitter handle?
Did you ask me what my Twitter handle is?
Yeah.
Oh, Manbearded
How'd you spell that? At what?
at Manbearded.
At
Man
bearded.
bearded, just like it sounds.
Like he done been bearded already.
He done been bearded up.
Excellent. You take it easy, Hack.
It's at he done been bearded or Manbearded for short.
There you go.
Take it easy, Hack. Cheers.
Take care.
Thanks.
Rob, you still there?
All
Yeah,
right.
mate.
There
All
he
right.
is.
Rob, what's your handle on Twitter?
Rob_Freddy.
There you go. You enjoyed it tonight? What do you think of Jeannie?
Yeah, good.
Yeah, she was great.
Yeah.
Our mysterious listener just dropped out as well.
Oh, we had another one, did we?
Yeah, there was someone.
No, that was her. That was her.
Oh, that was her. Okay.
Ah, okay, right. Josh, you've been very quiet.
I think he went to go deal with supper, is what he dropped into the chat earlier, so he may still be doing that. So
Yeah. Okay.
he may come back to an empty studio.
Yeah. It's either that or he slipped into a coma. Where did James?
It's possible.
Where did James go?
I don't know what happened,
If
James.
we want to have more traffic, we've got to put it on a bigger channel, I think.
Yeah, we'll have to throw it into like just the whole general twit line, not just into the chat room.
Well,
And
it's good
also-
to get a couple of things off the bat though first, and then we can always put these recordings onto the main YouTube channel, and people just listen and go, "Oh, damn, missed that."
Yeah, that was awesome that Jenny popped in like that. She was great.
It was, yeah. It was quite biblical, quite.
You sounded like Roseanne Barr.
Yeah, it's to me she sounded like Poe. What's it? What's her name? The physicist woman who was in the army. Oh damn, can't remember.
I'm not sure.
No.
I better go, boys. I got to go and mow, and I got a big afternoon of gardening.
All right, Rob.
All right, Rob.
Unfortunately.
You have a
Yes.
good one. We'll catch
All right,
up
guys,
with
see
you
you later.
shortly.
All right.
All
bye.
right. Take care.
Walt, what's your Twitter handle?
I am at FaceBones777. It's an old Twitter handle I've had forever, so
Lovely.
yeah. But I'm Flatter's Head on YouTube.
Yeah, I'm gonna check out that sunset. Was amazing.
Yeah, the second video that I made, it's on there as Dark Sun or Dark. I'm not sure. Something about Dark Sun, Dark Filtered Sun.
Mm.
It's the second time I went out after people said it was the glare of the camera showing
Yeah.
the difference in size. So I darkened it all the way down so that wasn't an issue. And it revealed so many crazy things. It really made me start wondering even the whole idea of the sun being an object or even being a physical thing. Because what I was seeing interacting wasn't 32 miles up at all. I mean, cloud
Wow.
covers, what, 4 miles, 8 miles up, 10 miles up?
That's exactly what I'm starting to think.
And
I'm
it's
starting
like,
to think what
this-
we're seeing is not what we're seeing.
No, it's a focal point of energy. It's an individual focal point for each person. That's really where I'm pretty much at this point.
Yeah, I just don't know. I
Everybody's
wish-
gone, and I know we're throwing this out.
Yeah, I so wish I was due to go to Australia in March this year, and
That'd be
I
great.
so wish I had. I mean, I couldn't handle it, to be perfectly honest. So I've been going there for no 15 years or whatever, and it's just been getting progressively worse and worse and worse. I mean, it's bad enough in England, but at least I know England.
Right.
Going over there, it's you know, it's a foreign country now,
Right.
and
Right.
it's you know, it's as bad a police state as it is in the UK. So I bowed out of that one, but yeah, I'm gagging to go now. I'm absolutely gagging to go. I'll bring all my equipment. I'll get those bloody shots. I'll find out what the hell is going on in the skies down there, because I haven't seen it from anyone. I haven't been able to get anything, you know, definitive. You would have thought there would have been hundreds of flat earthers by now in the southern regions that could just go, yeah, there is a south celestial polar, you know, rotation of the stars or whatever, or no, it goes straight across the horizon.
Right.
Um, the fact that we don't know just makes me, I don't know, it just boggles me.
Well, the only time anything I ever researched came up that made sense, I guess, quote unquote. This has been so long ago. Early in this, like 6 months into my research, probably, I had a person that I met, not met, but I knew, and they found out I was researching this, and they were just gung ho NASA, and I was completely just losing my mind, thinking that this was even possible. And so she was actually the best sounding board I had. She had me looking at things I never would have looked at, like Coriolis and snipers and just all these things. And it was pretty crazy when I looked at stars in the southern, because she was saying, well, then how can they all see the same thing on the South Pole at the same time?
Yeah.
And whichever space.com or Google Earth or whichever one I used to find out what time you would see the southern constellations at this part of the southern plane and what time you would see it. I think I did like maybe probably like Sydney and probably Johannesburg, somewhere like that in South Africa, and then somewhere in South America maybe.
Mm-hmm.
And I did the 3 different points, and it all pretty much worked out. It was like 3 hours apart for South America and Africa, and about 6 hours apart from South Africa to the Australia time that they would see these stars. So even their fake, you know,
Well, this is what I've
evidence or their
heard.
fake stuff shows that it's not ever being seen at the same time.
Yeah, this is what I've heard. That if, say, for example, you're in Australia or New Zealand and you look up and you see the Southern Cross, you're looking up south from South Africa and you can't see the Southern Cross, or you're looking up from south from Chile or something and you can't see the cross. And then, you know, 3 days later, you know, South Africa and can see it, but Chile and Australia can't. And then, you know, a day later, South Africa can see it, but Australia and South Africa can't, or South America can see it. And yeah, you know.
Yeah, and it was obscured behind a mountain ridge. I couldn't actually see. I could see the Dipper, but I couldn't see the North Star. I never could see Polaris from there. It was aggravating, and I would see it on the ride, like we'd be going somewhere, but never a point where I could just stop, set up the tripod, get the shutter button ready, and all the crap I would need to do to take the picture and set it up for long exposure.
Yeah, it's the same here with sunsets and things like that. You have to be in the right place, basically.
Exactly.
But, you know,
that's just like he kept talking about the one of his things he kept saying showed the ball, my brother, is that at sunset, after the sun is down, below the horizon, you can still see sun hitting the top of Mount Hood. I didn't see that happening myself personally. Hang on one second. Let me take this call. I'm sorry, John.
Yeah, no worries. So I'd be thinking that you would still see shadows from mountain peaks on a flat Earth as much as you people claim that this is a proof of ball Earth. I think it would work exactly the same on a flat Earth. So the thing is that in the southern hemisphere, you would expect to see if what people are claiming is the Southern Cross going around the polar axis in the south, you'd expect to see that Southern Cross all the time, just like we see the Big Dipper all the time in
Right.
the north. Ah, there you are, Walt.
Yes, I'm
Sorry,
back.
I was just
Sorry,
filling
no,
in.
that's cool. I understood, and I was agreeing with what you were saying. That's exactly right. And I haven't seen that.
No,
It seems like
normally.
someone sat with Solarium or Stellarium or whatever the big high dollar program for sky watching is, and they even set it up on that program for the southern sky. And even with that program, it showed that there's no way that all those would be seen at the same time. Or it's been too long ago. Like I said, this was all early in my research, probably 3 to 6 months in.
Something's
And
amiss,
I've
though.
moved on to so many different models since then that I've kind of left
Mm.
all that stuff alone. It's like I can't fix it or prove it, so I'll just have to move on to stuff I can work with.
Yeah, I'm very much the same. You know, I get challenged several times on Twitter, a day, sort of saying, well, what about the southern stars going clockwise around Sigma Octantis or whatever? And my stock reply is, I haven't seen it for myself, so how can I comment? Have you? And
There you go. I love that.
invariably they say, well, they don't. They try and avoid the question, but it's a logical question. Have you seen it? And invariably, yeah, his real
Exactly.
name's Ken Wheeler,
That's what I thought.
and he's got a couple of books free available on the internet as well. Amazing stuff. Well over my head though.
I know. Well, that was like the free energy stuff. A lot of it was making sense, and a lot of it was just past my understanding.
But I'll
It
tell you,
was
Ken's not a flat earther. But once this clicks in, that guy's going to be the next Tesla.
right. He's got some stuff going on for sure. He's a next level thinker.
Yeah, absolutely.
Well, John,
Right,
it's about supper
maybe,
time here.
yeah, maybe we should wrap this up. Say thanks to
Yeah.
any listeners, and
For
that
sure.
was amazing from Janie. I was really impressed with that.
Yes, it was great. She popped
Followed
in.
it straight away.
I hope she comes back for sure.
Mm. Yeah, absolutely.
And you are, if you would like to tell everybody your Twitter handle.
Oh, I am Sweary G SWEARYG, and yeah, John Savage, signing off.
There you go.
Cheers,
All right,
bud.
John. You too, brother. Take care.
Take it
And
easy.
everyone, we appreciate you guys staying with us. And Josh,
Like
when we
and
see you when you
subscribe.
get back, you take care.
Peace.
Peace.
See you, mate.
And later.